Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Abroad YouTube channel with another episode of The Rest. I'm your host, Aris Novatakos, and Nathan, not here today, medical sub out in Terry Degani. Terry, thank you very much for joining me.
Got my opportunity back. It was dropped.
There you
Got dropped, mate.
dropped. Got
Absolutely
dropped.
self-imposed suspension. Was posting too many TikToks and had to just cop my punishment.
Yeah, but back in the ones this week, so we'll see how we go, and we'll reassess for next week. What does that sound?
Well, I'm 186 centimeters. Can I play in defense this week for the Blues?
Probably need you.
Yeah.
Probably need you. I mean, they might call me up, and I'm not tall at all, but better than throwing Charlie Curnow back, is what Kane Gorn said.
I feel like you'd be able to sledge your opponents in defense better than anyone.
Oh, well, okay, maybe that's probably the only thing I can offer. Maybe that's probably the only thing I can offer. But let's just get into it, I think, because we don't have a lot of time. Let's just get into it. And let's start with the story. And let's start with Jordan the Goey, the story of the week. And before we touch on his teammates, which we'll do a little bit later on, let's go with the Goey. And I mean, I think with all big news and with everything that happens, what were your immediate reactions when it all surfaced?
My immediate reaction was that this particular incident, him being away in Bali, enjoying himself and all of that, it's a non-story and it's fine. And I have no issue with it. If he wants to do it, great. Would I love it if I was a Carlton fan? Probably wouldn't love to see it. Would prefer to know that he's gone without needing to see it. I think in isolation, I don't think he's done anything wrong, to be honest. However, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. And I think what had happened in the past with Jordan De Goey is put a target on his back. And the media love a scandal, the mainstream media, that is. And I think ever since that incident, he has just been on notice, and they're just going to wait till he does anything so they can interpret it in a way which is negative. And I think it's just a byproduct of the situation that he's created for himself over what happened last year and what's happened over the course of his career. And it's tough. It's tough to see the witch hunt, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, what he did in terms of pulling the girl's top down, that was obviously the main thing. Not a good look.
I didn't see that.
So there was a video of, he was with some girls that were obviously there together, obviously friends. He tried to pull one of the girls' tops down while she was laying down. The girls come out and said that's not an issue for her. So I guess we can take solace in the fact that that's okay in a sense. Did he break any laws? No. Is it a good look? Like you said, if it was a Carlton player, I probably wouldn't want it. And it's probably not a good look. But I think the main story that's come out of this, and the story which has developed into his teammates as well, is the witch hunt, that everyone is ready and willing to interpret things in whatever which way their narrative suits. I feel like that's become a theme over the last couple of months with just every story that's broken.
Yeah. I mean, mate, I've done dumb shit as well. Not like this with females and things like that, but just dumb shit in other realms of life, really stupid things that probably impacted me more than anybody else, but still dumb shit. So I do empathize with the fact that these guys live in this reality where anything that they do that's filmed, especially in 2022, and goes online and is seen by people on social media platforms, is open to interpretation. It's open to criticism. And I do empathize that is really difficult. However, they play in the AFL. Like, it's a game that's played in a country with 25 million people. Like, when you talk about world sport, Ari, you're a massive, football fan, the world game, any of these athletes at any given time can be seen and viewed by millions of people, not, tens of millions of people. So I think I don't know, I sort of put it into context a little bit, because like, we can live in our own bubble. We think that what's happening in the AFL is just the be all and end all. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things in the world. However, this is a footy channel and this is a footy conversation. Yeah. So it's obviously a big story for us. I just think it's just one of those things. Like, don't record, don't film this stuff. Like save it in your phone and just keep it. Like keep it for yourself. Like just save it and keep it as a memory. No one else needs to see it. And I think, unfortunately, we live in a world where, like you said, the look of it. You know, we live in a world where now we're adjudicating based on what something looks like. So, you know, I actually don't sympathize with him too much, because he's dug his own grave with his previous actions, and he's ruined in many respects his reputation. And I actually think this is a good learning curve for really young people, how important your reputation can be.
Yeah, I think, and like you said, it's about interpretation now. It's like everything he does will be spun in whichever which way. I just want to pose a question which I saw, and I just want to get your opinions on it. Say this incident had happened, but it was, let's just say, someone like a Sam Swinkowski, just like a regular footballer. What's the media reaction to it, in your opinion?
I think it's different. And I think very much like our legal system, your first offense is, for the most part, met with the benefit of the doubt. First time offender, you get a little bit of leniency. When you start to build a track record of incidents that are not in alignment with your club's values, the league's values, society's values, and you repeatedly do things in different ways to go against that, you build a reputation. Every time something like this happens, it's only going to get worse. So if it was Switkowski tomorrow, we would probably not be, it wouldn't have as much of an effect. But well, this is what happens when you play for a big club. There's on the one hand, you play in front of big crowds, and it's, you know, you get more marketing opportunities, there's more eyeballs on you. But on the other end, when you fuck up, the punishment is a lot more severe than what it would be if you're playing for like a Gold Coast Suns or a GWS, for example. And that's just the reality. I think I would challenge anyone that says that it's unfair, because this whole world, this whole thing, it's unfair. There's no such thing as fair. Anyone who's got this idea of like full equality and everyone gets the absolute equal opportunity and right and reaction is living in la la land, because it's not fair, you know?
Yeah, I fully agree, and I think this is a little bit of a good transition to move on to what is potentially something unfair in terms of the reaction for his teammates, obviously Isaac Quaynor and Jack Ginnivan. If this, obviously we all know what happened, it broke or got released or whatever today. There was a big Barney about it, about the TikToks, and like I just said, if this was a two Carlton players, two West Coast players, two North Melbourne players, I don't think it would be as big of a story as it is, because Collingwood now, through the Goey and through previous indiscretions, have built up a little bit of a reputation. But like with the Goey, what was your initial reactions to it? I think I already know, but just clarify it.
Well, the trend started with women. Let's just start there.
Yes.
It started with girls rating imaginary guys. That's how it started. So they've jumped on the trend in response to, you know, general people on TikTok rating people, whatever. It's something we did in high school. Everyone rates people. It happens. They're conversations that just go on. Like, let's not pretend like they're not conversations that we have every day, right? My initial reaction, I actually didn't watch the full 3 minutes. I probably swiped out of it after a minute because I was like, it's a bit cringe. But I didn't think it would garner the attention that it did. And these are two young guys who are growing up as guinea pigs on TikTok, just like I was the guinea pig on Facebook when it came out, and you know, the next level, Instagram. I was a teenager. I feel for them. I feel for Ginnivan and Quaynor a lot more than what I feel for De Goey, because these are just two young guys who don't know any better. They've grown up only with social media, and they're just going to learn this harsh lesson that they're not held to the same standard as what you and me are. They're not, because they play for Collingwood.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even watch, I don't use TikTok, right? So I'm probably one of the few my age who doesn't have the app. When I saw that they had done a TikTok and like had done something bad, I thought, oh God, this is bad. Like, this could be bad. I watched it. I was like, is it really been blown up just for this? It's like you said, everyone does it. And even if they weren't AFL players, I would have done it. And other AFL players would have done it and just not posted it. Like, it's something so minuscule that I don't even know how it's a story. This is as big of a non-story as you could possibly get, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, the AFL this week had the option of what they were going to report on. There's so many amazing stories out there, but we all know that fear and anger and drama
Outrage.
and outrage get more attention than a feel-good story. Then, look, when you're looking at things, you can never really look at them from one lens. You've got to observe a lot. So you and I don't have kids. You and I don't have daughters, more specifically. So it's hard to comment on how it would feel as a father with daughters when you see something like that. By the same token, there's a double standard, because I don't think any mother with boys is too worried about women doing the same thing, rating guys. So it's, man, we're living in a wacky time. We're living in a really wacky time right now, and a time where having an opinion and putting it out there sort of draws you to this shitstorm. And then you've got people online who portray themselves as being saintly and portray themselves as being, able to be outraged over things. And it's just a really wacky time. And we're sort of moving further and further away from the time when we didn't have social media, and it's just becoming normal. Like I still remember riding my bike as a kid, doing the normal things, and then social media happening. So I guess it's really soon after the fact. I think it's a learning curve for the two boys. Putting something up like that is going to draw such attention. It just is. This is the world we live in. People are outraged on either side. So they'll learn. Yeah.
We hope that these stupid headlines don't pop up again, because let's be honest, there is so many feel-good things that are happening in footy right now, happened over the weekend, are currently happening. I mean, from a Collingwood perspective, I think Braden Maynard's playing his 150th game, I think. I didn't know that until I saw it like 10 minutes ago. And yet all the headlines have been clogged up with these two. Maybe the Goey to a lesser extent, but Ginnivan and Quaino, in my opinion, are non-story. I think that's enough of that, because we could just tie ourselves in knots and speak about this for ages. But let's move on to last Thursday night's Carlton Richmond's and the incident that happened in the last quarter, Shea Bolton. Now, let's just take the incident in quotation marks in isolation. Thoughts? I'll give my thoughts first, actually.
Yes, please.
I think that incident in itself, or that action, is a little bit disrespectful. However, I don't mind seeing it in the game. They're just my overarching thoughts.
Yeah, I'm with you. You win the game, you earn the right to talk your smack. However, if they don't beat us next time, we're going to remember it. So exactly. You put a target on your back, and you better hope that you play well against Carlton every time you play against us now, because the moment that you don't, and the moment that Richmond lose against us in the future, is the moment we look back on this moment and we create memes out of it. And that's just the way it is. Is it a cheeky? Is it smart ass? Yes. Is it a big deal? No. I think everything's open to interpretation. Is it disrespectful? Maybe a little bit. Is it entertaining? Fucking oath it is.
Yes, 100%.
So if you're a Richmond supporter, you're loving it. You're loving it.
In the same vein, if that was Corey Durden or Matt Owies or Zach Fisher running into an open goal, I mean, I wouldn't be criticising him, put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's brave. It's brave of Bolton to do that. Obviously, it just came after the fight, a little scuffle that broke out at three-quarter time. So emotions were high, and Richmond they came out and said that it's not what they stand for, and whatever. We'll see how that plays out. But I don't know, yes, as a supporter of the opposite team, it's frustrating, and I definitely let him know what I thought about him from level 2 on Thursday night. But it is, it's just whatever. We'll play a game this week and we'll forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, and just quietly, people are saying, there's been a lot of talk about, we don't need robots in the game or whatever. I completely agree with that. It's finally someone who has come into this league and has shown a bit of flavor, a bit of flair, personality. The fact that we're shutting it down is frustrating, in my opinion. And the fact that his own club, like, I would understand maybe a little, just a private chat, which is like, all right, just if you're going to do it, at least make sure we've won the game, right? Because if if that goal stands, then who knows what happens after that, right? But I don't mind seeing it. A little bit disrespectful, but I'd rather have it in the game than not.
Agreed.
There we go. I think that's enough. Now, let's go from Thursday night to Saturday night, and let's keep on the small forward track. Toby Greene, kick 7. And I've put here, is he underrated? I think Toby Greene, despite his brilliance, is still underrated by the footy media.
I don't know. Like, I can only speak on myself. I rate him so highly. Like, I think when he's fit and injury free, and in his groove, he's just kind of one of those game winning players, like the Dusty, the Charlie Curnows, the Jeremy Camerons, and these guys that can turn the game on its head. He's got that ability. I don't know. I think because the Giants have probably underperformed a bit, he probably cops a bit of that. I think also the indiscretions with on field and getting suspended probably hurts him a little bit with, again, reputation. But as a footballer, he is unreal.
Yeah, he's one of the players that even if he's playing poorly, you're still worried about him. Oh, yeah. Even last quarter, he hasn't gone near it, you're still thinking, all right, where is he? Because he can turn a game on its head in a quarter, right? And with the off-field, maybe not off-field, but with the indiscretions that he has done, obviously got suspended for the early part of this year from the bump on the umpire. We all know his rough nature of playing the game. I just feel like that adds to his character even more. Like, it adds almost to the mystique and the mystery and the Toby Greene like persona a little bit. Would you agree that it's kind of beyond the footballer, like the actual player now? It's his whole gimmick, not gimmick, but like character in a sense.
I guess so. I think the fact that he plays up in, up with the Giants, in Greater Western Sydney, just kind of makes me think, what if he played for Collingwood? Like, obviously, and again, going back to the conversation, like, you play in Melbourne, you play for one of these big clubs, you get a lot more exposure, you probably get rated better and higher just by virtue of the fact that you've got more eyeballs on you. Like, how many times do we talk about like Freo players compared to Collingwood players or Carlton players? It's just, there's an imbalance, I guess, because you and I are from Victoria, so we watch and receive a lot of the Victorian mainstream media. Even if we don't read it, it's subconsciously there. I'd love to see him. I mean, I think he would suit someone like a Collingwood or a Richmond so much.
Yeah, perfectly. He screams a Collingwood player because everyone loves to hate Collingwood and everyone loves to hate Toby Greene. It would work. I'm not sure if that will ever happen. I certainly hope it doesn't. But yeah, he's, like we said with Shea Bolton, he's one of the players with character and with something about him other than just he's good at football. He offers something different, and he's box office.
Yeah,
few players are being box office players. Toby Greene's one of them.
We don't allow for the promotion as much as like for mainstream media. I don't believe we don't allow for too much personality. I mean, it's an Australian thing, showing your personality. We've got this tall poppy syndrome that plagues our society. You've got mainstream media, which is mostly white men talking about these standards like they don't get on the bags on the weekend. Like, it's really strange. I am now old enough to see through it. But we live in this really funky time in the AFL where it's almost become like this platform where the players now not only need to be players and athletes, but they also they have to be role models. They're being forced to be perfect. And I guess if you're Carlton, you're happy because I have full faith in the characters that we've drafted. And, if you look at our, leadership group, like they're good boys. They're good boys, good values. Not to say they don't make mistakes, but I would be not worried that Jacob Wiedering is going to upload a TikTok or go get pissed in Bali and do something silly on camera. I don't worry about that with a guy like Jacob Wiedering or most of our leaders. So the league is really becoming this platform for politics, almost, in the way in which we want to pretend like people are perfect when they're not.
It's almost, I think people, I mean, these people, they signed up to be footballers. They didn't sign up to be role models.
Yeah.
Whether you say that's a part and parcel of the career that they've chosen, you could argue that all day, right? But these people have been put on this pedestal, in a sense, because they're really good at kicking a football, not because they're perfect human beings. So the fact that we're up in arms about people making mistakes or showing character when everyone expects them to be these 2 hours on a weekend where they're perfect and then silence for the rest of it, pretty much. The fact that we're up in arms about difference is concerning me and confusing me a little bit.
So something I've learned over life is, I think at the end of the day, when you have a platform and when you have eyeballs and when you have tens of thousands of eyeballs on you, there does come a responsibility to send the right message. The issue is these are young guys that are still learning that. Like, I'm 31, still learning life lessons, so these guys are, early 20s. Some of them are teenagers, but, early to mid 20s. They're not fully mature yet. The penny hasn't dropped yet. They're just living their life. They've gone from being teenagers playing sport. Now they're doing it for a career with hundreds of thousands of dollars in their pockets to do it. So I think where the hard part comes is society. We have this, when someone does something wrong, we love to get the pitchforks out and we love to stone them and we love to crucify them to make us feel like we're upholding the right values. And I always try and find a balance between, criticizing someone's actions and then having empathy and knowing that I myself, and most of us, if not all of us, make stupid errors every day of our lives in many respects. And also, when you live in this environment, there's 44 players on the list, $10 or $11 million spread between them per year. They've got no outlet. They just want to go let some steam off. It's very difficult, and we're highly uneducated, I think, and immature as a society to have embrace this culture of, rather than trying to shut someone down, put your arm around them and say, all right, hey, let's be better.
Yeah. We're finding that balance. I feel like you said, immaturity a little bit is a good way to put it, but different. I feel like now, especially with the society in terms of like the society that we're currently living in, it is a lot more, you can't just berate people and expect them to change from berating them. You have to support them. And that's, we'll touch on briefly the Bailey Smith incident that occurred last week. He needs support. Stop berating him and actually start supporting him, and then he might change.
Yeah.
It's similar with anyone who makes mistakes. We're just transitioning into a period where we're just finding what people and what groups of people maybe respond and are willing to change based on what response.
Yeah. The reaction to Bailey Smith, or not just Bailey Smith, any player that is caught in some sort of drug scandal or drug situation, possession of drug situation, it's like people have never done drugs in their life. It's fascinating to me how people pretend to be in their own lives when talking about somebody else.
People pretend to be immaculate when someone does even the slightest indiscretion.
Yeah.
People pretend to be the angel in society and punishing or coming down on those who have done something ever so slightly wrong. It's like you said, tall poppy syndrome not long ago, I feel like is a good way to, it's a branch of that in a sense.
Yeah. And that's a big reason why I used to get a bit vocal on, I used to get into like Facebook arguments. That would be what I would see a lot of people on Twitter now, but like when I was like your age, when I was like 18, I remember like I see them now, they come back on my On This Day on Facebook and I see all these arguments I used to get into based around footy. And then at some point, I don't know, the penny just dropped and I just shut it off. I just don't even log in anymore. It's really easy to get sucked in, really easy to get sucked in. And you just kind of got to control yourself. It's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy, but it's the world we live in. I think can't control it.
It is.
Now let's go to our final main talking point before we get onto the moment of the round. And I saw this on Twitter, and funnily enough, we were speaking about Twitter, but I saw this on Twitter. And I can't remember for the life of me who posted it, so apologies. But basically, the prompt is your stage 1 of a rebuild, and the magical draft genie offers you an A+ player who'll give you 250 plus games. What type of player do you pick? An inside midfielder, a forward/half or half forward/midfielder, intercepting key defender, or an accurate key forward? What would be your preference?
In this day and age, accurate key forward is not a very easy thing to find. And if he's an A+ player and playing 250 games, I think I'm going to go an accurate kicking forward.
Yeah, I would agree, but just by devil's advocate, so we can have a little bit of a discussion.
Yeah.
The half forward midfield are your typical game winners. You look at Bont, Petrarca, Dusty. Do you feel like they're more of a commodity in terms of the ability for them to take a game by the scruff of the neck and win them? Because if you look at maybe accurate key forward, there's a lot more variables that could not allow them to play a good game, weather, opponent, etc. Whereas someone like a Dusty can pretty much have an impact on any given day. Would that be something to sway your decision a little bit?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. I think if this accurate key forward can't have a ground level game, then I won't pick him, because I think the game's moving. It constantly evolves, and players become more skillful, more athletic, probably more taller in general. Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Cripps was a full forward 15 years ago.
Yeah, so I think for the modern game, that guy that can play half forward and in the midfield, that Dangerfield prototype player, Dusty, Toby Greene, even that's probably the hottest commodity right now. But I think we just haven't had the dominant forward really come and take our attention again. And I'm hoping it's Harry, Charlie. Is it going to be like Aaron Norton, Max King, Jez Cameron? I don't know if the last few will be the ones that change and sway our opinions, but we haven't had really, really dominant forward over a long period of time since like Buddy, really.
Yeah. But Buddy went to my mind straight away.
Yeah.
Maybe your senior teammate Logan McDonald could be that player. Still young.
Hey, he's got something, doesn't he?
He's very good.
Yeah, he's scary good.
The fact that North didn't pick him and picked Will Powell, I think, over him. I mean, we speak about North's current rebuild state, but that doesn't help, does it?
Play silly games, win silly prizes.
There you go. And so no love for the intercepting key back or an inside midfielder?
A little bit of love, just not as much as the others. You can tell that when I played, I wasn't a defender. I was more of an offensive player. So bit unaccountable, mate.
There you go. Won't fit into a Michael Voss system, I'll tell you that for sure.
Absolutely, Michael Voss would not be picking me.
There you go. So let's go and let's end this with the rest moment of the round. Now, there's 3 here that I've got, and I want to start with Cody and Toby going bananas. So Toby Greene kicked 7, Cody Wademan kicked 5. I think Aaron Norton kicked 5 as well in that game. I unfortunately didn't watch it, but I was refreshing the scores every 10 minutes, and it was going up by 50, it seemed. It was a high scoring game of the year, I think.
Yeah, I didn't watch it as well. I watched like the highlights and the replay. So the replay of the highlights. I'm just giving all props to Cody Wademan. That footage is unbelievable. And I think he instantly earned like levels of respect like
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah. I mean, it was freakish. But people hate him. People maybe not hate him. People love to hate him in the same way that people love to hate Toby Greene. I love Cody Waitman so much.
I
If
think
he was
after,
if he was a Carlton player, he'd be my favorite player by
yeah,
street.
for sure. I think after that performance as a whole, I think he earned a lot of respect from people.
Yeah, 100%. So the second moment of the round, I feel like there's three, but I'll finish off with the one that I think is the moment of the round. But another special mention, Alex Davies' grandfather, who flew from Japan to watch his debut, plays for the Gold Coast. I'm nearly certain. The scenes, that was very wholesome stuff. Did you see that?
I didn't see
Floating
that.
around on Twitter and stuff. Yeah, very very wholesome things. Very wholesome stuff. Rather, went into the rooms after the game. It's what footy's all about, really.
Exactly right. It's the real stories, the real feel
Yeah.
good stories that should be given more light, I think.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was really, really wholesome stuff. And I want to end the moment of the round. And I want to end this episode speaking on Spud's game, which happened on Friday night, St Kilda versus Essendon. And last week, there was a lot of chat about Bailey Smith and that whole the conversation around mental health and regarding him. I feel like on Friday night, it was another key and very important moment to just sit back and think how big of an issue this is and how big of an issue that this transcends footy. I'm very grateful and I'm very happy that this is a day on the footballing calendar now, alongside MND or Freeze, Big Freeze at the G, Dreamtime at the G, Maddie's match, all these brilliant events. I'm really happy that this is now another staple of the footballing calendar. I really hope this can continue for years and years to come. It's a very important conversation and a very important thing that needs to have as much light spread on it as possible, because obviously Danny Frawley was a fantastic player, but an even better person by all accounts. So it's a mental health problems are a beast, and it's a issue that as the footy public and as footy media in general, we need to speak about a lot more, because I feel like footy has a big impact on a lot of people. It can be their escape, but it can also teach them things. And if we can teach the importance of mental health through footy, I feel like that's going to reach a lot of people and it's going to do a lot of good, and a lot of good that needs to be having, I think.
Yeah, mate. Really well summed up. You said it perfectly, really.
Thanks. Yeah, I just thought it was a big moment and a match that, like I said, really happy it's now on the footy calendar. So yeah, any other special moments that you found over the weekend?
No, I think those three would be the perfect three. Got to say, I love watching Levi Casbolt crash packs.
He's back.
Mate, he's such a difference maker to the Suns when he's there. You could just see the fear he puts into the opposition, just because he literally takes out 2 to 3 guys. And tell you what, the Blues could really use Levi Casbolt right now in defense. It'd be perfect for what we need right now.
It really would be. Now, it's footy plays funny games, doesn't it? Footy plays really, really funny games. It's just how ironic that
we had to have a moment this year where we feel like we missed Levi, because we gave up on him. Ultimately, that's what happened. We didn't offer him, or maybe we did offer him, maybe he didn't take it. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he's not there with us. And I guess this is that point in the season where we learn our lesson as to why we really do need Levi Casbolt around.
Yes. Now quickly, do the Suns make finals?
I don't think so.
No, that would have been a good summation. Levi playing finals after not playing him for the Blues.
Gee, wouldn't that be poetic?
No, I think he might have played 2013.
You know what? They are really well built, and it's really disappointing that Ben King's injured, because they don't, like, I'm trying to think, what are their holes? What are their gaping holes apart from Ben King, because he would obviously be playing? The way that they've built the list, the wingers that they've got, the inside mids that they've got, the defenders that they've got, the halfbacks that they've got, the small forwards that they've got, like, where's the weakness, you know?
I don't think there's a glaring one, to be honest.
I think
you said.
I think it's just time. They just need time to grow up together and build that synergy. I just watched them because it was the only game of the day, the game against Adelaide. And I'm just like, there's no like real bad pat player or passenger. And I think the Suns have got it right. I think we're talking about them for the next few years. I think they've got it right, and they're gonna do it. They're gonna really rise.
Yeah, I mean that small forward brigade of Rankin, Roses, Jeffrey, it's exciting,
Yeah.
very very exciting, and they've got talent everywhere. Matt Rowell is quietly having a very very good season. Doesn't get a lot of easy touches, but he digs in, puts his head over the pill, and he's finally becoming the player that we saw in the first couple of rounds of 2020. I think
His last two games have been the Matt Rowell that we all fell in love with. We've always loved him, but I think he was just building. He had a really good game in round one, and then he just seems to have been just kind of battling, but still playing well. But I think the last two games he's been like prolific and super strong, and he's now starting to break those tackles again, and he's now starting to find that space again. He's now starting to have that reaction time again. So yeah, he's back. It's I mean, I've had him in draft stars for the last 2 weeks. That's why I know. But he's back.
There you go. Yeah, it's really exciting to see. And I think just to round up, because I asked Nathan this last week, so I want to ask you, because I think I'll get a chance to. What does your eights look like in the first week of September from this point?
Okay, stand by. I'll just get the ladder up so I make sure I don't miss any teams. So in no particular order, but roughly Melbourne, Brisbane, fuck Freo, man, but Freo and Geelong. I think they'll be the four. I think we will finish fifth in the end. Richmond, I think, will play finals. Sydney will definitely play finals. Got a feeling it'll be Collingwood, if I'm honest.
And that means Carlton Collingwood elimination final.
That means Carlton Collingwood elimination final, and it means we play them in round 23 and then the very next week in a final. I actually think they'll make the 8.
That's that game. If that happens, I won't be able to do it. I can't do it.
Mate, that fortnight is going to be ridiculous.
I won't be able to do it. Apparently, I heard rumors, and I'm not saying this is true, and this may very well be false, but apparently they're looking to make Carlton Collingwood round 23 a standalone game because of the implications it could have on the eight.
What is it? What do you mean by standalone game? As in,
so the only game of the day.
So like play it on a Friday?
I don't know. I don't know. It's either Friday. That's what I've heard, that they're going to look to make it a showcase game. Put it that way.
I would hope that game is a Friday night game.
Yeah.
Because we're hopefully going to be, playing finals football, and I don't want to be playing off a 5 or a 6-day break.
Well, isn't there the bye post finals or pre-finals?
You're right. There absolutely is a bye. Okay, you're right. There is a bye. Never mind. We'll play them whenever.
Yeah. Play whenever, wherever. It's all good sides do.
That's right.
There you go. All right. Thank you all very much for watching another episode of The Rest. Terry, thank you very much for stepping in last minute in the absence of Nathan. We'll be back next week with another episode. See you guys next time, and goodbye.
Go Blues.